So this video today is for anyone going through Kundalini awakening, particularly for anyone experiencing intense symptoms of Kundalini. I'd like to alleviate some of the dangers, so-called, of Kundalini awakening, and actually even bring the thought that maybe these dangers and intensities are actually blessings when we can learn to see them from a different perspective. So hi, my name's Brett. I'm the founder of this channel here, and I'm a 200-hour YTT Kundalini yoga instructor, and I've been on the path of yoga and awakening for about 10 years now. When it comes to the Kundalini awakening, there's a lot of misconceptions that this energy is dangerous, that this is an evil or demonic energy. And what I want to bring to everyone's awareness today is that it seems to be the rapid activation of Kundalini that is most dangerous. So the Kundalini yoga that is taught in the West, which is of the Sikh tradition, with Yogi Bhajan and all that stuff, and how those practices were not necessarily the true entirety of Kundalini yoga as it was taught in the East, as it was taught in the ancient Tantric as well as Vedic perspective of Shakti and the activating the Kundalini through the 7 chakras. So what I want to talk about first is some of these dangers and why someone find this energy to be demonic. And it's not that the energy itself is demonic, because the energy is divine. The Kundalini energy is the divinity that waits to be awakened in all of us, the connection to God and Goddess and the Mother Earth, Gaia, that connects us to all life. And once we start to have this awakening, we will start to see our reality shifting on a massive scale. You'll start to see how, when people talk about our thoughts create reality, you'll actually start to see when you really have a Kundalini awakening, and not just a false awakening, but the true awakening, that your thoughts begin to manifest almost instantaneously. And this is a danger, because when your mind isn't ready for that experience, you'll start to attract your fears to you. I can say this firsthand. I've experienced this. I've experienced both good manifestations instantaneously, and I've also seen some of the negative sides of that ability to manifest thoughts and emotions into reality, instantaneously. So the higher we go in our awakening, the more grounded to the earth we need to become. Just being out here in these trees, being out here in nature. I like to go for walks when I'm feeling particularly overwhelmed. It's a way to get reconnected back to the natural world, back to what is, that concrete, that foundation, that root chakra. So the higher you go in your chakras and this energy begins to awaken, also the more you want to focus on the lower chakras and the stability, nourishing yourself, taking that time out in nature to be alone, to connect with Mother Gaia. But let me talk about how, our thoughts begin to create reality. This is because the third eye is beginning to open. This is because our spiritual abilities and faculties of the pineal gland and the third eye on the spiritual plane is beginning to perceive beyond the physical. We're beginning to see how connected we truly are. And we're even able to see what you could call demonic energies. And this is why they think the energy itself is demonic. While it's not, you have to be open to the fact, or you have to be aware that this can open you up to these types of energies. And how do you manage that? How do you begin to protect yourself from these energies? It's by radiating in a frequency of love, that love and light. When people talk about love and light, and some people think that's a joke, no, the light is what protects you. The light is what you truly are. The more you awaken, the more the light illuminates the shadows around you of people who have not experienced this. People won't understand you. Maybe your family and friends think you're crazy, or you're just off on your rocker or on your high horse or something, and so they put you down for it. They try to put you back into that miserable state of, oh, you can't be connected to God and this and that. And because even in the West, we have that Christian mindset of being limited in our connection to God. We're all sinners, and of course we all make mistakes. We all have those faults in us, but that's not to stop us from knowing that there's perfection in those faults too, that there's a lesson that God is trying to give us. Like I said, the dangers can be a blessing with the right perspective. That's what I'm here to offer. And so when we start to see that, the outside world, or those that are not ready for this experience, will try to keep us out of that, even if we look at the true way that Christ was speaking in the scriptures, we can even see how Christ was saying, I am one with God, be one with me, and you'll be one with the Father, you'll be one with the Most High, you'll be one with the Almighty. And how you see that is up to you, but he is telling us that we are God's. The kingdom of heaven is within us, and people like to take that we are God's thing out of perspective too, like we are the God and all this stuff. It's like we're all a part of that, but we're still here, we're still learning, we're still in this reality. So to keep yourself, like I said, rooted, the higher you go, it's that crown chakra, and you start to see that vision, you want to come to the heart, you want to come to love. But love also doesn't take disrespect. It's willing to say, hey, this is disrespectful energy, this type of treatment, to tell me that I can't have these experiences, or just because you haven't experienced them and I'm wanting to share them with you, especially myself as a teacher. Of course I want to share with my loved ones these experiences and be like, hey, we can connect and do this thing together, and you can experience bliss too from your own nature. It is the human, or the animal nature that has us seeking outside of ourselves. It has us seeking the pleasures of the world. It has us seeking, all these things, all these distractions, whether it's TV or chasing money, chasing sex, chasing pleasure, drugs, pleasure, whatever. And it's not to say any of these things are bad, because in their inherent divinity, they're all part of that divinity, part of that oneness. But we have to bring them back to that state of understanding that not everyone's going to understand us. So once we realize that, that's a part of the awakening too. This is a faculty of the third eye, being able to perceive and discern, okay, well, I can feel this and I can want to share this. And the more I do that with the wrong people, the more that energy begins to descend again and want to, coil back up in that root chakra, get you back into that state of unconsciousness. But what if I told you that that journey is important too, but you don't have to keep experiencing that, and if you can, that's why I'm making this channel, is hopefully you'll follow along with me. And if you need that guidance, you can book a session with us, you can connect with us directly here, and we'll be happy to answer your questions, as well as do the more natural yogic practices and mantras that protect the mind, that help to expand the consciousness, open the third eye, while at the same time bringing stability into our roots. And that's where the lifestyle comes in. That's where different, having the disciplines of yoga comes in, and not just doing this, like I said, Western New Age version that just blasts you open without any of the preparation that it takes to get to that level of awakening. And oftentimes those techniques aren't even truly yogic. There were Sikh traditions, like I said, but nothing to put against them as well. If that works for you, that's great. But a lot of people I've heard have done these things, and myself included. When I was on a traditional path, eventually I came across the New Age yoga, and I tried that out, and it started to give me the intensity without that groundedness, without that knowingness of the divinity here and now. Like, I don't need to blast off into some other dimension, and I don't need to despise my family and friends, because that can be hard too when no one gets you anymore, and you start to feel disconnected from anyone. Your old friends may try and come into your life again, and you see how there's no relation, there's no way for you to bring them up unless they're willing to come into that vibration of unity and understanding, and seeing the world for what it was, and then seeing also what it is and what it can be when we are connected to God and divinity and oneness. And the Shakti will show you this. The Shakti is the divine mother. The Kundalini is connected to both the Shiva and the Shakti. Shiva is, that ultimate realization of our oneness with God, the soul being one, the Jiva becoming Shiva. The Jiva is the separate soul, and the Shiva is the interconnected with all. The masculine, and the Shakti is at the bottom, or the feminine, the divine feminine, and that rise and that meeting has to take place. I don't want to get too esoteric about it, but just for anyone that is familiar with the terminology. And once you start to see that interconnectedness, that we're all truly one and equal, there are many who would rather play the division game or the power struggle. The divide of the sexes, the divides from religion, the divides of, family and friends, and they want to hold on to the old you. They're not really willing to accept the new version of you that's becoming. And especially if you're in the early stages, you may not be fully in it yet. Things may be falling apart around you. You may not have perfect groundedness and stability yet, and that's okay too, because you're learning to grow, you're learning to awaken, and that great awakening takes time. It's not just, you don't want to just activate it. Boom, I activated my Kundalini, I did all this breath of fire and stuff, and then now what? You know what I mean? That's why they always had a guru or a teacher, and I don't claim to be a guru, but I am a licensed teacher, and I have taken a long time in this practice, and as my daily sadhana, as well as just my walk in life of observing different walks of life, different traditions, different cultures, and how there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of division that keeps us from connecting on this level, that keeps that power struggle, or it's all for just the glamour, it's all for the show of it, and rather than the realization of this is an ongoing thing. So you need to stick with it. You need to be willing to commit to yourself, commit to your awakening, commit to the fact that it may take some time, it may take years even, to get to the place where you want to be, where you feel you're in that environment, you can support yourself, you can be supported by those around you, and create that. I'm here to create that space here as well online, so that we can have people coming together in a beautiful way. So, make sure you subscribe and join the channel as well if you're watching this, if you got this far, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to support you on your journey. We're here to offer mantras. We're here to offer protection and guidance and just that awareness that you may not have if this is something new to you. Maybe you had a spontaneous awakening. Some people take psychedelics and that get an awakening and they're like, I'm enlightened, but they didn't change their lifestyle. They weren't willing to let go of certain things. They weren't willing to start to change their lens and be like, well, is this really serving me? And that's what I'm learning to do, is as I've reached out in different communities, that many different spiritual communities that may be aware of this awakening, it tends to go to the ego. It tends to go to the, separate sense of self that says, I am God, or I am the controller. And we have to see that interconnectedness, that we're meant to be cooperative with each other, with nature, with all things. But we also have to see how nature operates, just how nature, like a mother will protect her young. We have to be willing to protect this energy within us. And we also have to be willing to surrender to the divinity, to God and Goddess, so that they protect us. Because they will protect us, but we have to be in that oneness, in that union, in that yoga for that to take place. Otherwise, things can happen. Dangerous things can happen. There's a lot of craziness in this world. There's a lot of manipulation of this energy in the world. And I'm not here to point fingers or say who is who. I'll let you decide that. But remember the light that you are. Remember that light that's inside of you, and that you have to fight to protect that. Well, you don't have to fight in like I need to battle and struggle. It's more of a I want to defend that. I want to be able to say, hey, no, I don't agree with the way that is. And that's fine if you want to believe that, but I'm here to experience something different. I'm here to grow in a new way. I'm here to let go of things that don't serve that healing and that presence without the struggle. So even in the fight or flight response of the sympathetic nervous system, this Kundalini yoga, the true Kundalini yoga, is meant to get us to shift in the parasympathetic mode, where we can be more restful, be more alert and mindful and centered and equanimous, that equanimous mind, that equilibrium of the left and the right hemispheres, the masculine and feminine of the body now working together in harmony. It doesn't matter if this isn't about sex, sexual orientation and all that crazy stuff. Man is man, woman is woman, but male and female are within both of us. And that's where we learn that this dynamic play of energy and rest, movement and stillness, this is what the true yoga is to teach us. This is what the true yoga and the true Kundalini awakening begins to give to us. So even if we are starting to see demonic energies, we have to be like, okay, well, maybe they are influenced by that. Maybe that's why they want to bring me down. But I can still be an angelic frequency. I can still choose the love that I am, even if they don't resonate with that, even if I'm not in the environment that supports that yet. Because there are a lot of false environments and false teachers, we could say, that will parade as, they have the knowledge, they have the techniques, but they forget that everyone is unique in that, and it's not to have power over others. It's so that we can empower each other and empower ourselves, empower each other to empower ourselves. And when we do that, that's the bliss, the awakening of bliss from within, without needing an external source. Anything else is extra. It's like the scripture that says, seek first the kingdom and all else will be added, and the kingdom of heaven is within. So that state of heaven is within, but that also means the state of hell operates can operate in us too. So you don't need to dive into these dark shadows and dark places to come out enlightened and all that stuff. You can go through that suffering, but I'm here to offer a simpler way. You've probably already been on a path of awakening, you just didn't even know it. And now you're at the point where you're like, I want to take this further. I want to go deeper into myself. I want to meditate every day. I want to spend time doing yoga every day and breathing and praying and connecting with God. And that's how we take it to the direct path, because the indirect path is like you're one of they call the chosen ones, and you're already on that indirect path. You just didn't know it. Now you're beginning to know. The awakening, the knowing is beginning to take place, and maybe you want more of that. Maybe the world doesn't interest you anymore. These are signs that your Kundalini is awakening, and the dormancy is now beginning to come alive, and you're starting to question your reality. You're starting to question why people choose to elicit such rude behavior, such crude behavior, and why we feed into that, why we allow ourselves to feed into that also. Like, why do we let others push us around and tell us how we should be feeling about ourselves, when truthfully we have that within to decide, to choose love, to choose bliss. And love does not just get trampled by others. Love is kind, but love is also protective. Love is willing to, if needs be, like I said, fight for it, and not in some aggressive way, in the way that is understanding that we're not going to always meet the perfect connection. You will meet resistance on this path, let me put it that way. If you're not meeting resistance, that usually means you're in a state of stagnancy or entropy or tamas, excess tamas in the system. We have tamas, rajas, and sattva, and then the transcendence of all three gunas in yoga. The tamas is that state of inertia, of nothing's happening. Rajas is the state of activity, like you're always stimulated, you're always going, never finding rest. Sattva is the state of purity, that state of mind that's just content with what is. Whatever's happening around, it can happen, let it. But try and stay to that sattvic state as much as you can. And then eventually you can transcend all three of these. You'll realize that they're all part of the experience, and that you will experience all of these even in your awakening. That some paths say, oh, you only need to be purely sattvic, and you should go for a sattvic path. You should go for a bit of rajas when you need that energy and that passion and that stimulation. And then tamas is that state that really you don't need much of that. You want to purify that tamas, and it's okay if when you need to rest in knowing that rest is good for you. That's sattvic. It's just a purity of thought, rather than like lethargy where you can't do anything. That's more the tamas, like you're incapable. And you are capable though, and that's what I'm here to tell you. And this Kundalini will awaken to that point when you realize how capable you are and how much you've held yourself back by allowing others to treat you a certain way, by allowing yourself to think certain thoughts. So you got to reprogram your mind. You got to let go of attachments to people, places, things that don't serve. Food even, your diet is largely where you get the tamas, the rajas, and the sattvic from. And eventually you can transcend that as well. And Tantra teaches that transcendence of all three and embracing all, but also knowing that the sattva, that purity, is what keeps us in the higher chakras. It keeps us in love and bliss and knowing our true self within without needing validation and opinions of others. So I encourage everyone to find that place within. And if you're interested in going deeper into Kundalini Yoga, you can book a session with us at our email, and an hour or a 2-hour session. We also offer Reiki healing, where we can, do a distance healing and help to balance the chakras, through the grace of God. We're just a channel for Mother and Father to flow and the Spirit to flow, so that you can experience healing where you're needed. And then maybe we can talk and go deeper into establishing that practice that can get you to the state. But some are in traumatic states. Some have gone through traumatic experiences. I know I have. I've just been blessed to know my connection with God and how to come out of those states without needing an external guidance system, without needing, all the traditional methods that we have in the West. Pharmaceuticals and psychotherapy and all that stuff. And that stuff's great, but I'm not here to tell you to stop taking medicine and all that stuff, but know that there is a natural way and an alternative path. And yoga teaches that path from within. So I'm here to offer that solution to anyone that is ready for that, and to walk with us, to walk together, so that we can be a part of that change on this earth. And when one of us awakens, many more will awaken. It's that ripple effect. It's that manifestation. When you create your reality, you become that vibration. The reality around you has to mold. But those who aren't willing to come into that new reality, that may be the next step. Is to get to the next step is you have to go to a new place. You have to go to new friends. You have to let go of old relationships, old commitments, old jobs, whatever it is, old diets, old belief systems, and come into that oneness, that state of unity that only yoga and awakening brings. And yoga as a whole, not just doing stretches. Yoga as an entire path of union. Yoga means union with God, and to be one with that source, to be one with our source and creator, and also one with creation. So hope this channel could help anyone going through some of those challenges, and also seeing the blessing, seeing the beauty in the experience of awakening, and how when you go through these stages, when you start moving through the chakras, a lot of different things will happen, different manifestations, different tests, different lessons. And eventually you'll get to that place where you're like, why did I put up with all that for so long? Why did I go through all that? Why did I put myself in those situations? And you'll just start to realize, okay, I can choose the path I want to be on now. And I want to be in love. I want to be in service. I want to be in connection, in grace. So hope this can help anyone. Sending lots of love, healing energy, vibrancy, just soaking in this beautiful present moment with you. I pray that life, light, and tranquility comes to you. If you're going especially through a hard time, just know that there's support here. God loves you. The Mother Earth loves you. Nature is here to support you. The Great Spirit, the Holy Spirit is here to support you. We love you. I'm here to support you. And I hope you'll do the same for us in whatever way you can. So lots of love. Peace.